What if I told you that the wealth you're searching for is already inside you? It's not about numbers. It's not about external opportunities. It's about an internal code that few ever learn to decipher. An ancient secret, hidden in plain sight, that only reveals itself when you make a firm decision to no longer accept scarcity as a way of life. There's something rich people know, and they never taught it in schools. Something beyond logic that touches the invisible, yet transforms the visible. This revelation has everything to do with faith, vision, and courage. And maybe, in the next few minutes, something inside you will awaken, as if a veil were lifted, and you could see clearly what once seemed impossible. The most shocking truth is coming shortly. But first, I need to ask you one question that only you can answer. Are you willing to completely reprogram how you think, feel, and act about money? If the answer is yes, then take a deep breath, look within, and get ready. Because when the decision is real, reality obeys. There comes a moment in life when the soul cries out for change. Not a loud cry, but an inner restlessness that says, "You were born for more than this." In that moment, a quiet but definitive choice is made. The choice to prosper, to break through the invisible limits that have been imposed or accepted for too long. That's when true wealth begins to form. Not in your wallet, but in your awareness. This decision doesn't depend on how much money you have, but on refusing to live a mediocre life as if it were destiny. It's an inner agreement with abundance, where you declare, "I refuse to live under fear." Many people wait for external signs, but the most powerful signs come from the heart. Those who truly decide begin to see possibilities where only doubt once existed. And that's when everything changes, because life responds to those who decide with conviction. When someone truly chooses to be rich, the universe begins to align in silence. Opportunities appear, courage grows, and what once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. Are you feeling this call? Maybe it's not new. Maybe, only now, you're finally listening. If this message has already touched your heart in some way, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and comment below. I decide to be rich now. Most people live like leaves, in the wind, carried by circumstances without ever clearly deciding what they truly want. Napoleon Hill noticed something powerful. Truly wealthy people are those who made a clear, firm, and non-negotiable decision. Deciding is not wishing. It's committing to a destiny, even if the path is still unknown. And that kind of commitment changes everything. When you decide, you stop doubting. Doubt paralyzes. How many dreams have died, not from lack of talent, but from lack of decision? And the most curious part is that real decisions aren't loud. They're quiet, but determined. A woman who decides to grow financially begins to think differently, act differently, even speak differently, because she already sees herself where she wants to be. But the truth is, few people truly decide. Many say, "I want to be rich," yet live as if poverty is inevitable. This isn't judgment, it's an invitation to awareness. Have you truly decided, or have you only wished? The answer to that question may be the turning point, leading to a desire that transforms. There's a massive difference between wanting something and desiring it intensely. Wanting is weak, unstable, based on mood and circumstance. But the burning desire Napoleon Hill described is an internal fire that consumes all doubt, all fear, all hesitation. It's the kind of desire that makes you wake up early, study when tired, persist when no one believes. A woman with this kind of desire doesn't need the world to believe in her. She believes first, and that's enough to move mountains. Remember a time when you wanted something so badly that no one could stop you. Maybe it was a childhood dream or a personal goal. That desire transformed you. Now imagine channeling that same force into your financial life. The seed of wealth is planted in that burning soil of desire. But it must be fed daily like a flame that cannot go out. And when that fire grows, it begins to burn away excuses, comfort zones, and everything that once seemed impossible. And then an inevitable question arises. Wealth doesn't look the same for everyone. For some, it's a big house and travel around the world. For others, it's free time, the ability to choose, or simply peace at the end of the month. The mistake most people make is chasing someone else's definition of wealth without ever stopping to ask, what does being rich mean to me? Without that clarity, the pursuit becomes hollow, and the destination confusing. When you define clearly what you want, your mind begins to work in your favor. Do you want an extra $5,000 per month? Write it down. Want to be out of rent? In 2 years, write it down. Wealth needs definition, like a map that guides your steps. Those who don't define their destination get lost in the journey. Clarity opens doors that vague thoughts never will. And more than knowing what you want, you need to feel it. Feel what it would be like to live that reality. Walk those streets. Breathe that relief. The mind doesn't distinguish imagination from reality when the picture is vivid enough. And at that point, something extraordinary begins to happen. A quiet shift that pulls you toward a higher purpose. Without purpose, even money loses meaning. It becomes just numbers, papers, hollow, goals. But when your purpose is clear, money becomes a tool. It serves the mission, the calling, the greater vision. Napoleon Hill taught that the mind needs direction, and purpose is that invisible compass that guides every thought, every choice, every action. A woman with a defined purpose doesn't waste energy. She knows why she wakes up early, why she refuses shortcuts, why she won't compromise her values. Her purpose doesn't need to make sense to others. It only needs to move her from within. It might be to give her children a better life. It might be to help other women prosper, or simply to honor who she is. And something powerful happens. When that purpose is declared with conviction, life begins to respond. Situations align, people appear, doors open. A strong purpose attracts opportunities invisible to those who wander aimlessly. And as that force begins to act, a little-known practice starts to shape a new inner language. The human mind can't tell the difference between what's experienced externally and what's vividly imagined. That's why daily visualization is one of the most powerful tools for those who decide to prosper. Napoleon Hill spoke of seeing with the eyes of the mind. It's not daydreaming, it's mentally building the life you intend to live. When a woman visualizes her financial freedom day after day, something within her starts to shift. She begins to behave like someone prosperous, even before seeing the money. Her brain, exposed repeatedly to those images, begins searching for ways to make them real. It's like planting mental seeds that eventually produce tangible fruit. But this practice requires consistency. 5 minutes a day, a quiet place, a vivid image of the life you want. Then something mysterious happens. Situations begin to unfold that seem like coincidence, but aren't. Reality starts responding to what's been built within. And in that silent process, a new inner language begins to emerge. Words have power. And when repeated with intention and emotion, they become commands to the mind. Autosuggestion isn't magic, it's mental practice. Napoleon Hill taught that what is affirmed repeatedly and with emotion eventually becomes accepted by the subconscious. And once the subconscious is convinced, it moves the body, the actions, and the destiny. Imagine saying every day with conviction, I deserve to prosper. Wealth flows to me with ease. At first, it might feel strange, but with repetition, resistance fades. Each word becomes a seed, planted deep in the soil of your soul. Over time, you begin to act according to what you affirm, often without even realizing it. Autosuggestion is also a shield. It protects your mind from negative thoughts that drain your energy and faith. Because when your mind is filled with positive affirmations, it becomes strong, clear, and starts attracting experiences aligned with that new vibration. But for this to truly work, you must first break through a silent barrier embedded in many belief systems. From an early age, many were taught that money is dirty, dangerous, or unreachable. Phrases like "money doesn't bring happiness" or "the rich won't enter heaven" were repeated so often they became silent truths. But these beliefs, though common, are traps. They block the flow of abundance before it even begins. Napoleon Hill warned, "What you believe about money determines how much of it you allow into your life." If deep down you associate wealth with guilt or rejection, no matter how much you desire it, a part of you will sabotage it. And sabotage isn't loud. It shows up in small choices, delays, and fears that hold you back. That's why breaking these ideas is an act of liberation. Start by identifying the money messages you heard growing up. Question them. Rewrite them. Transform "money is hard" into "I am guided with wisdom to prosper with ease." This internal shift may seem small, but it opens the path to new behaviors. And once that cleansing begins, the mind becomes fertile, ready to receive influences that once felt out of reach. The mind is like a garden. If you don't choose what to plant, weeds will grow on their own. Your mental environment is built daily by the content you consume, the conversations you entertain, the thoughts you allow to remain. Most people don't realize they're surrounded by voices reinforcing limitation, scar. People don't realize they're surrounded by voices reinforcing limitation, scarcity, and fear. Napoleon Hill made it clear, dominant thoughts shape results. That means thinking positively once a week isn't enough. You must shield your mind from daily contamination. That might mean muting certain news outlets, limiting time with negative people, or choosing your books and videos carefully. What enters the mind shapes your reality. Taking control isn't isolation, it's responsibility. Just like someone who decides to eat well chooses their meals, you must choose what your mind digests. It needs to be fed with elevated ideas, positive visions, true inspiration. As you protect and strengthen your inner world, begin to attract connections vibrating on an entirely different level. There are encounters that change destinies. When two or more people come together with the same intention to grow, something invisible and powerful happens. It's as if the strength of each mind multiplies. In that environment, ideas become clearer, faith grows stronger, and fears lose their grip. Prosperity becomes lighter when you walk with those who have also chosen to rise. Have you noticed how certain people lift you up while others drain your energy? That's no coincidence. It's spiritual and emotional influence. When you surround yourself with people who talk about growth, vision, and faith, your mind expands. Without even realizing it, you start thinking bigger, acting more boldly, and believing in possibilities that once seemed far away. And it's not about quantity, but quality. One meaningful conversation with someone who believes in you can reignite a light that's been off for years. That's why you must carefully choose who walks with you. True connections don't just inspire, they awaken. And as you move in this space of constructive exchange, something inside you begins to persist in ways it never did before. Many start with enthusiasm. Few continue when the emotion fades. That's where most stop. But here's the truth, few accept. Wealth doesn't come to those who try, it comes to those who insist. Persistence is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It keeps knocking until the door opens. Those who quit early will never know what was waiting on the other side. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't always talent or luck. It's endurance. It's continuing even when nothing seems to work. Think of the biggest things you've achieved in life. How many of them required you to push further than you wanted? Persistence builds character, strengthens faith, and refines your purpose. It is a spiritual discipline as much as it is emotional. Resilience. And life has a curious way of testing who truly wants it. Obstacles don't show up to block you, they show up to prepare you. Every no on the road to prosperity carries a hidden lesson. And if you keep going, even when it seems like nothing's changing, you're closer than you think. Because after persistence comes a powerful new way of seeing failure. Failure isn't the end. It's just a disguised teacher. But only those who dare to look back without guilt truly learn. Napoleon Hill said every failure carries the seed of an equal or greater benefit. The problem is, most people treat mistakes like final verdicts when they're actually calls to reinvent. It's not about falling, it's about learning quickly and rising stronger. Every time something didn't work out as planned, there was a lesson. But did you catch it? Or just blame yourself? Wise women turn their stumbles into maps. They note what didn't work, adjust the plan, and try again. No drama, no shame. Financial life, like any area, demands this ability to start fresh as freewheel us, many times as necessary. Failures act like filters. They remove those who aren't ready and strengthen those who are. When you start seeing failure as part of the path, the pain shrinks and clarity grows. And from that new perspective comes a different urgency, a need to act without delay, eyes locked on what truly matters. Thinking isn't enough. Feeling isn't enough. Dreaming even less. The difference between those who achieve and those who only wish lies in action. Action is decision made visible. It's when you turn intention into movement. Think the faster the action, the stronger the message you send to life. I am ready. Those who wait for the perfect moment wait. Forever, you don't need to have it all figured out to begin. Start with what you have, what you know, what's within your reach today. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's changing a habit. Maybe it's making one better financial choice. Small steps, taken with consistency, lead to massive changes. Never underestimate the power of one aligned action. Action creates energy. It fuels faith. It draws opportunity. And with each intentional move, you strengthen a new identity, a woman who decides and does. The more you act, the more your frequency shifts. You move from someday to I'm already living it. And in that rhythm goes a new relationship with time itself. Wishes without deadlines are like arrows without targets. They never hit anything. When you set a date, something inside you awakens. The brain understands that the dream has become a real goal. Napoleon Hill emphasized the power of defining exactly what you want, how much, and by when. A deadline sparks a sacred urgency that pushes the soul into action. With a set date, you begin to observe yourself differently. Your choices become more focused, your habits more intentional. For example, in 6 months, I want to have a 5,000 reals emergency fund. That changes how you spend, how you plan, how you work. And the best part? Even if you don't hit it perfectly, you'll have progressed more than years of waiting for. Someday, deadlines aren't pressure, they're focus. They don't trap you, they free you from procrastination. Because once the mind sees a time limit, it starts to prioritize, and then everything speeds up. And in this rhythm of clarity and movement, the future no longer feels so far away. It starts calling your name more loudly. You were born with a potential that time, fear, and routine tried to dim. But it's still there, waiting for you to say, now it's my turn. The future isn't a distant place. It's being built right now, with every thought, every decision, every choice. The abundant life you long for already exists as a possibility, and it's waiting for you. Don't wait for another sign. Don't delay again. The world is full of people asleep, but it's the awakened who change everything. You could be one of them. The decision is yours. And when it's made with a steady heart and a lit soul, the whole universe begins to align. Because when you decide to be rich now, the now responds with open doors, miracles, and momentum. So look at yourself with courage. Honor your journey, and declare with truth, I am ready. Because the world needs your light. It needs your strength. It needs your prosperity. Not just for you, but for everyone who will be impacted by your transformation. Now, close your eyes for a moment and feel it. The future is calling your name. If you made it this far, something inside you is awakening. Maybe for the first time, you feel that it's possible. That wealth isn't reserved for a few, but a right for those who live with purpose, faith, and responsibility. It all begins within. It all begins with a choice, and only you can make it. This isn't just about making money. It's about living with fullness. About not accepting a tight life when you were created for abundance. About transforming your beliefs, your habits, your path. About aligning your faith with your actions. Because when you feel deeply, your reality begins to change completely. Prosperity is a response to those who live in truth. If this video spoke to you, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You can comment below with a phrase that seals your decision. I decide to leave scarcity and live the fullness God has called me to. You are not alone, and the world needs more awakened people. Maybe you are one of them.